Well, Miss Carol,
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you coming in today.
Oh, you're welcome.
This is such a joy for me because, needless to say, you were one of the first people I ever met in this church.
Probably so.
So that was the fun part. So I know that you take a lot of care with training your greeters and being a greeter, and a perfect example of that. Tell me more about that program.
Well, that program is the way I serve. I'm technically a very shy person, but I know by being so shy how awful it feels to walk into a place that you don't know anybody and feel like you're alone in the room and nobody sees you or hears you. And because I'm so shy, I finally grew up, when Dave and I were moving around the country, to the fact that I probably wasn't the only person in that room that didn't know anybody else. So I started paying attention and trying to just deliberately reach out. I kind of have this, I mean this to sound egotistical, but I have this kind of uncanny sense about what people are thinking or kind of their general demeanor, whether they're hurting or whether they're just reserved or whatever. And I don't ever want anybody to feel like they've come to this church and nobody saw them or heard them. And especially hug them if they'll allow it. COVID about killed me for a while.
That takes a lot of courage on your part.
It does, because I really am. I could easily go into the back corner of any room and just watch what was going on.
Well, thank goodness that you've turned your challenge into a triumph.
Yes.
Because everybody benefits. With the greeter program, you also take a lot of care in training your fellow greeters. Can you tell us more about that?
I train them. Training seems like a strange word to me. I just
sharing information, maybe.
Yes, to make sure that even if they just saw that person talk to Bonnie, that they talk to them too. We don't want just one person talking to people when they come in. And almost all of us know when someone's brand new to the church because they come in with this deer in the headlights look on their face. And when we see somebody like that, it's not hard for several people to step up and say hello, and then we try to always introduce them to somebody else. Where do you live? Well, I live in Harbor Lakes. Well, let me introduce you to Lynn and Bruce. They live in Harbor Lakes. And take them into the sanctuary and introduce them to Lynn and Bruce. Just to establish some kind of a contact. When you've made a real contact with somebody, not just you walk through the room and I say, hi, Lynn. That's not contact, But I just really emphasize trying to make true contact with as many people as they can every Sunday, whether that's somebody that they think they've seen here 20 times or whether they've never seen them before.
Right.
And it seems to be catching because I see so many people more. They don't know they're acting in the behalf of the welcome team, but more and more people making contact with people and walking up and not being afraid to say, have I met you before? A lot of people, if they don't know if they've seen them before and they're afraid to admit that they might have. They might have gone here for 20 years, but they can't remember their name. Mm-hmm. That doesn't bother me. I just, have I met you before? And most of the time they say no, and then they give me their name. But a lot of times they kind of grin and say, yeah, I've gone here a few weeks. And I say, well, let me get out my little red book and write it down so next Sunday I may not ask you again. Have to ask you again for the...
Well, that is definitely one of your strengths. And I have two friends that have been on the receiving end of your kindness to make sure you knew how to contact them, etc. through a very difficult, trying time with Ed Helker.
Yeah.
And I just commend you on your loyalty and your faithfulness to keep in touch with him, because he really, really appreciates that from
Good.
you. But you also have such a great gift with all you're talking about to be my elder in a very, very, very wonderful, heartwarming spot in my life. And I just want to thank you for that, Carol, because just checking on me, make sure my heart's still beating, and I haven't lost it because I'm too overcommitted for everything, blah, blah, blah. You know how I get. But your skills as an elder, tell us more about being an elder.
The most important job as an elder, I think, and I think almost everybody else would agree with me, is not the public pray at the table, lead a worship service. That's not the most important part. The most important part is letting people know that there is someone in this church that is specifically interested in them, there to pray for them or with them, to assure them if they don't want to tell anybody else but me that trust is sacred. That happens a lot of times. People are afraid to, or they're too private. They don't want to tell somebody that something's on their heart that's really hurtful to them. And I try to, trust is so hard to earn and so easy to lose. And I just kind of take that as a sacred bargain with God. Please let me do the best I can for you today.
Wow. I wish everybody prayed like that.
Oh.
That is just, here again, a very inspirational situation. And you have been a member of this church for how long?
Since 2002.
Wow, you've been here a while too.
Yeah, I was a baby.
Well, and I've seen you in many, many different roles. Do you have a personal experience that's been really special to you? That's just kind of been heartwarming, or?
So many are flashing before my eyes. You're getting this blank look, I know.
No, it's fine.
I think one of the most special times for me was when a person had been visiting for, I bet 5 years or more, and never come forward, didn't know very many people, and they came forward on a day that I had been at the table, which meant that I was the elder to greet them then at the first of the church. And when I walked up there, they said, "I'm here because of you. I can't resist you any longer." And I thought, oh my gosh, don't lay that on me. That's lay that on the Lord. That's who you can't resist any longer. But that was mind-boggling, because I hadn't done anything to pressure.
That's why they kept coming. Now that's true stewardship. That is the faithfulness, following what the Lord's telling you to do, and doing it. A lot of people know in their hearts what they're supposed to do, and they still resist. And you just don't anymore. Even with the fact that you were shy.
Yeah.
And every other hurdle that you've climbed.
Yeah.
And you had a really pretty rough COVID years. That was
Yes.
That was something that you were a big inspiration through, Carol.
Oh, thank you.
And the challenges you met were unbelievable. And you've been such a good steward regardless.
Oh, thank you. I'm still looking for me in reference to Dave having passed a year and a half ago now, and the really hard 3 years that preceded that. And I'm still trying to figure out who I am. But the one place that I'm really comfortable is in church on Sunday morning.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's re-describe that. You're not just here on Sundays. You're here all the time.
Well, yes.
Isn't it nice to have a place to go where you know you're welcome and
It
you know
is.
you're necessary?
Oh, thank you.
And,
But we've got a great welcome team. It's not just me.
oh, I know that, but the leadership helps. I like a lot.
Thanks.
And having somebody that's faithful, and you demonstrate. You just don't delegate. That's the best part.
Oh, thank you.
But so tell me about your family.
I have a daughter and a son-in-law that live in Arlington, and they have a son that lives in has just moved this summer to Grand Rapids. Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Wow.
And they're thinking about moving up there to be with their son, and they've told me that they would really like me to come and live with them. And I'm thinking, no. There's no way I can leave this church.
Well, not only that, it's too cold.
It's cold up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to help you pray about that.
Yeah.
Because we don't want you to go up there.
Thank
We're
you.
purely selfish. I know.
Well, I appreciate that. I get so much more out of this church than I ever could begin to give. They've held me up, and literally held me up and walked with me through the hardest times in my life.
I know that.
And they continue to.
I know how close you are to our current ministerial staff, and I love to see the reaction between you and all the members of the staff, because you're just such an integral part.
Oh, thank you.
And it's fun to see you all interact each Sunday.
You mentioned that I was up here all the time, and I said, well, I guess so. John Pelham said he'd been here for 6 months, and he stopped me out in the parking lot, and he said, I don't know exactly what your title is. I mean, you're minister of what? I've never put that together. And I said, I'm not minister of anything. And he says, oh, no. He says, I could swear you were on the staff.
There you go.
And so I thought that was kind of cool, but different.
We're highlighting stewardship, and there's so many facets to stewardship. And I just really love the fact that you are my elder, and I know that somebody loves me really often. You
really
call me
often.
a lot, and I appreciate you, Carol.
Thank you.
Miss Carol Ferrill. We love her. She's in charge.
Right.
Thank you so much, sweetie.
You're welcome.